Good evening. I want to welcome everyone to our membership meeting, and what a good crowd we've got. So I want to welcome all of our members, and especially want to welcome our guest tonight, Mr. Craig Fuller is going to be our speaker. I'm sure you guys have heard a little bit about the new community in the south end of the county. He's going to tell us more about it tonight. With him, he's got Mr. John Bowes, Mr. John Ricketts, and Mr. Preston Holland. So we sure are glad they're here, and we'll give them a good welcome tonight. And you guys get a chance, be sure to introduce yourself and make sure they're welcomed into the community. So glad to have you all. Thank you. So to get started, I'd like to ask Mr. Wade Dodson if he would give our invocation and pledge.
Shall we pray? Dear God, we just thank you for this opportunity we have to come together. We just thank you for the fact that you've blessed us with the opportunity to live in this community, in this valley, and in this city, dear God, and we're appreciative of that. We're appreciative of the beauty and everything around here. We also thank you, dear God, for the opportunities you've provided for our community to grow. And we just pray that you be with our government leaders. You give them wisdom and guidance as they make decisions that will affect our future. Dear God, we just pray that they'll call on you for every decision they make, dear God. Bless this food tonight, give it nourishment for our bodies, and we may serve you in everything that we do. We ask this in thy name. Amen. You'll stand and pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With that, we've got the butter dish is providing the meal tonight, so it looks really good. I'd like to ask our guests if they would lead us to dinner, and then we'll just start from this side and follow through. Enjoy.
He saw his coworkers.
him up. You want you bronzes, what happened? It was a fire. You know, young people don't watch the news like Thomas and you don't watch the news. They don't watch it because they get stupid. Well, if you want to know anything, you should. They don't watch it. Exactly. Me too. Me too.
I'm running on 90 now. I believe you can win there.
He didn't tell him what he was on like the wrong way. I know. I remember one time I was driving with a driver. Y'all went to
enjoyed dinner. I thought it was fantastic. That's the butter dish right here. Mike will do dinner for us tonight. So if you're by there, be sure to tell them thank you. With that, I'll go ahead and introduce our speaker, Mr. Craig Fuller, CEO of Flying Media Group. He's going to tell us a little bit about the fields, the new community. So with that, let's make him feel welcome.
I appreciate everybody coming out and giving up your Thursday night to hear about the fields. We're excited to be in your community. Here in Bledsoe, we hope to be a part of your community as we develop this project. I know there's been a lot of conversation, a lot of questions that have been asked about what our plans are, what they mean to the community. And tonight, I hope to answer those questions, or some of them. So I want this to be informative. I also want this to be interactive. So as we start talking about the development, I want at the end to take questions that you may have about how this will impact you and impact the broader community. Because there is a lot of concern, and we want to be sensitive to that and understand that. One thing that's really important as it relates to what we're hoping to accomplish here is that we want to be good stewards and good neighbors. This is not a project that we want you to feel like is taken away from the natural beauty and what makes this place really special. And so understanding what those concerns are so that we can address them, and we're happy to do it. It's also important that we know what those concerns are now so that we, as we develop our plans, we can accommodate those or make adjustments as we go. And we've already started to do that. So over the last couple of weeks, I've had the opportunity to meet many of the folks in the room. Many of you I've not met and hope that we get the chance to. And some of the questions that you've asked us, we've actually taken into consideration as we have initiated our development plan. So it's important for us to feel like, or it's important for you to be a part of this conversation so that this is a community that you can be proud of and one that is a part of the broader Bledsoe story. So I'm going to walk through what our plans are just so that you can get a sense for what we have planned and what we believe can contribute a substantial amount to the local community. This journey started for us about a year ago. And I bought a magazine. I'm a pilot, started flying at 13 years old. And believe it or not, my dream when a kid was to own an airport. I actually thought that was sort of a childhood dream that I wouldn't do. But I bought Flying Magazine, which is a magazine that caters to pilots. And one of the things that I really started to do as I got back into aviation, because I've been flying at 13, got out of it at 20, was I wanted a place to fly an airplane that's quite beautiful. And I had been flying out to Marion County and flown across the Sequatchie Valley and thought that this is one of the most remarkable places in the entire country to fly an airplane. It is just gorgeous. And I think that's your number one asset. That is what we tell people about what we're trying to accomplish. It's the story of the Sequatchie Valley. It's not about what we're building, but it's about this entire story, about this very special and gorgeous rural community that has something that few people know about. And that's the story we're telling. And when we started to look at developing and putting our headquarters, one of the places that we looked to was wanting to put it in the valley, because I would say as a pilot and as someone who just loves natural beauty, you guys have one of the most remarkably beautiful valleys in the entire country. And I've been a lot of places, had the fortunate opportunity to travel out west, up north, out to all over the country. And I can say that this by far is one of the most undiscovered secrets in the entire country. And we want to tell that story. We want to be a part of helping people discover it so that they do come and they do spend money in your local businesses. They do come and they do stay and they become part of your community. And that's what we're hoping to accomplish with the fields. And I'm going to walk through what this all means. So with that, when we went out and set out to create the fields, there's an air park out in Wyoming called the Alpine Air Park. And this is what it looks like. It's about 40 miles south of Jackson Hole. And what it's built is I'm sorry? Oh, sorry. It's pretty, right? What this is it's an air park where people have their homes connected to the runway. And so it allows them to fly in and out of the community. And this is what we dreamed of creating in the South, because there's nothing like Alpine out in the eastern side of the country. And so this is really, if you sort of imagine this, and we got the chance to fly up there, and we flew up there in the fall, you had these beautiful fall colors, and you had these mountains, and it looks so much like the valley that we're talking right here. It really does, if you can sort of imagine it. But this is really what Alpine's about, and this is what we want to bring to your community, is something that's really nice and really beautiful. That's what development should look like in terms of really aesthetically supporting the natural beauty that's there, and something that you can be proud of. And you can see that what at Alpine, and ideally with our development, you'll have the ability for the pilots to actually keep their airplane there. So when they fly in and out, they'll actually be able to park it in a private hangar that they can live next to and connect to. Now, when I told my wife that I wanted to live at an air park, she said, no way am I living at an air park, because she imagined what that experience would be like with having airplanes that having a runway. It just wasn't something attractive to her. But one of the places that she's always fell in love with is Blackberry Farms. I don't know if you guys know it. It's up in eastern Tennessee, and it's a development that is renowned for all over the country. People come from it from all over, and it's in a very small town of Wyland, Tennessee. And basically, they built this incredibly beautiful development, not around golf courses, and not around anything but the agriculture and culinary experience. The farming lifestyle is what they're doing. They're getting people from all over the country to come and enjoy that and be a part of that. And that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to blend the Alpine development with Blackberry Farms and create this really special community that blends in with all of the natural beauty. And this is about creating something that families can come and enjoy. It's about something that I can take and be proud of, to have my kids and family to come in and visit and stay and be a part and preserve what really makes this place very special. And you can see aesthetically it's built, these developments, these homes are built to blend in with the natural beauty. They're not there to be obstructive and take away from what already makes it special. So this is what we've envisioned is, you think about what Alpine looked like and you think about what Blackberry Farm is, this is what our goals are, is to create this development right here in your community. Now I want to talk a little bit about this, because I know this map has changed a few times. I know that it's been out there, and I know it can be a little bit polarizing at times. But I want to go ahead and address it, because it is the elephant in the room, is what are we doing with this road? You've heard it's been closed, you've heard it shifted, so certainly all of that was stuff that we've talked about. But most importantly, what we've done over the last couple of weeks is taken in some of your feedback and have applied it in how we think about the development. And that's important to us. We don't want you being shy on what you're wanting to accomplish and what you want to do. And if we can accommodate your plans, we would love to do that. So I want to talk about this new model that we've got here. Is essentially, you have an old 28 that runs through the middle of the development. And then you've got, what we're planning to do is create an access road that runs parallel, you can see it right here, I'm gonna take this mic just to make it easier, runs parallel to Highway 127. And the reason we've adopted this plan is a couple things. One is we plan on creating some community development. So I want to be clear about one thing. We're not building a country club, we're building a community. And what I mean by that is this is not closed off to the broader part of Bledsoe County. It's meant to involve and invite you in to be a part of it. So one of the things that we've talked about is building a farm-to-table grocery store so that local farmers can sell their agricultural items and different items to not only our development, but to the broader community. We talked about having a restaurant, a farm-to-table restaurant, to be a part of it. And again, everyone in this community is invited to be a part of that. So you can sort of see how we're looking at the plans. We got this road. One of the other things that we identified was, and I sat out there, I had the opportunity to sit out with a group. We actually sat in the parking lot of the church, of the Bethel Church of Christ. And we sat in that parking lot, and one of the things we identified is all the traffic that uses that as a through road. Like, they're literally using it as if it's an access road. And that's naturally dangerous. If I think about my small kids running through there, because they inevitably, that's what happens, they always get away from you at the least opportune times. And what we thought about was, can we go ahead and solve a problem that exists for so many people around here, and go ahead and shift the access road so that ideally people will come off of Highway 127 onto the old road and go ahead and really take that pressure off of the church. So what we built are 3 access points from 127 with an access road that would come from here all the way up to, well, go from the south side up to the north side and vice versa. And Orange Road would be a new development. What that enables us to do is take a lot of that pressure off of 127, but also take a lot of pressure off of the rest of the area that's creating a lot of traffic, and also allow for things to be developed along that road. That's really the idea of the amenities. And one of the other things that we thought about was, we want this to be beautiful, and I want you to think about that. That's important to us. It's not about being an eyesore, it's about something that people can be proud of. And to do that, what we want are some common areas, some green space, some parks that just look like, when you drive by it, you're like, that feels like somewhere that I want to come be a part of. And to be clear, you're invited to be a part of that. This is not, what we're talking about is those amenities that are alongside this road are a part of the community. We are going to keep that open. We will maintain it, we will host it and build it, and we will maintain it. But those parts of our development are completely open to everybody that's in this room and everybody that's in the community. We want to involve people that are a part of our community into the broader Bledsoe community, so that we're all one community. So we got plans for a playground, we got plans for a park, a grocery store, a restaurant, and then some commercial parcels that can be developed in time. Now, one other thing that I'll point out is our interest is specific to the development here. And one of the things that we're looking for are entrepreneurs who want to go start some of these businesses and run them. We're a small team, and so what we want to do is provide the support to allow small businesses to thrive in this area. So whether that means working with you on capital and financing, and working to really develop something that's special, we really invite you to do that, because it's a big project in a lot of things. And we are focused on development, and we want to get entrepreneurs. And when we think about restaurants and we think about grocery stores, if there are entrepreneurs in the room that would like to be a part of helping us build that, we invite you to do it, and you can be a part of this entire story. The other thing about what we're thinking in terms of our plans is, we believe in the next year, this will create 80 to 100 new jobs in the community. Over the next couple of years, we think it will create hundreds of new jobs. And those are construction jobs, those are jobs in retail, those are jobs in restaurants and grocery stores, those are jobs in all that commercial parcel that you look at. Gas station, I didn't put it on the map, people want to know where the gas station is going to be. Trust me, I do too, because inevitably I feel like I've got to go to Dunlop to get gas, and that's unfortunate. Rose, that's not a good thing to say. One of the things that we didn't put it on the map is because you get into environmental concerns. Where's the gas station going to be? So we don't want to go out and say where it's at, because we haven't figured that out. We'll let the engineers figure that out. But regardless, that's really what we're planning in sort of phase one. As we sort of look through the rest of the phases, this is a 15 to 20 year project. So when you talk about the big story that you saw in the newspaper, that's a 15 to 20 year plan. That's not all going to show up tomorrow. It's going to take some time and many, many years before it shows up. So when you think about the scale of it, it's a long-term plan. And one of the things that is really sort of a part of this is, how do we develop and grow with the community, and how do we manage it? But that is what we're thinking. And again, it's about involving you in the conversation. I was going to talk a little bit more. We've got a hotel and spa that's way up there, which I don't have on the map yet. And again, it's a couple year out before we do that. And it's not going to be a big hotel. I'm not going to build an MGM here. It's going to be a small boutique bed and breakfast, about 40 to 60 rooms. So it's not a huge thing, but it is going to invite people. And I think one of the other things that's not on the map is we're also building an outfitter. We've hired a person out of Chattanooga that works a lot with the wildlife resources. He is a well-known biker, mountain biker, road biker, started a local association for biking. He's also big into fishing. He was like, a lot of this sort of development has been sort of serendipitous, but he sort of dropped in our lap, and he just happened to do all the things we wanted, which is mountain biking, fishing. So we bought some land along the river, and our goal is to turn that into an outfitter, and that outfitter would offer rock climbing tours, would offer fishing tours, and would offer to really develop the tourism here. And what's great about that for the community is they're going to come out into your community and they're going to spend dollars in your store. They're going to spend dollars in the broader community, not just what we're building. So I'm going to go ahead and just sort of talk a little bit about sort of the plans here. Again, hundreds of high-paying jobs, and those range from jobs in construction to retail to hospitality. One of the things that I think is really attractive is selling the Bledsoe story. And we got a copy of the Flying Magazine. We did this where we talked about it. And one of the things that's I think pretty exciting is this isn't, if you think about what we built, we haven't built anything. It's raw land right now. But people are interested because they're interested in your story. They're interested in the Bledsoe story. They're interested in the valley. This is something that you guys have, this remarkable gem of a valley, and that is what's important. And one other thing that has been asked of us is this going to ruin the culture of this rural community? Or is this going to ruin the aesthetic or the environment of the local community? You have to remember, we are talking about the community itself. We're talking about this rural lifestyle. We're talking about this beautiful gem of an area. And it would be reckless of us to destroy what makes that special. So really, we want this to blend into the natural area and offer something that's really special. We think about what it means in terms of development is bringing tourists to the property amenities in the county. It means millions of new tax dollars from our development. So this isn't coming from the broader community, it's coming from our development. Millions of tax dollars that will go to pay for schools, that will go to pay for public services like fire and police, will go to pay for roads. And it will contribute significantly in terms of the tax base to the local economy. And one of the things about the state of Tennessee is there's a law that if, and I'm going to watch the description of the law, I'll let the politicians do that, but as the amount of money the amount of money the county takes in, there's an offset. They have the opportunity to cut the taxes. They have the opportunity to value the property. And so what's nice about that is it can help develop a lot of the amenities and schools and teachers without actually taking away from that. And what's really great about that is, again, it's coming from our development. There's obviously a business-to-business impact. As we bring visitors in, they're going to be spending money. They're going to be going to your local shops, they're going to your local restaurants, they're going to all of the businesses that you run. Hopefully they will be spending their dollars here. That also pays for sales tax. And then just in terms of all of this sort of businesses that they're also going to drive is, when we're talking about building homes, they need financing, they need insurance, they need everything that you can possibly imagine. If you have a home, a second home, you're going to want to get it here in the local community. Now, I'm a logistics person. That's where I came from. This question gets asked, is that real? Are people really going to stay in our community? Are you really going to hire local contract services? Are you really going to use local labor? Number one rule about logistics is if you can get it local and you don't have to transport it, you get it local. So the thing is, as we start looking at development and as we start looking at the items that we can get and the labor that we can get, we want to hire local and we want to use local services because, frankly, that's good business sense. So I want to talk a little bit about what the story we're talking to folks that are interested in the community is, just the story that we're out telling people about what the field is about. So it's Air Park living, it's attracting business owners that want to live in a rural community, that want to take advantage of the quality of life that's here, but also have businesses they want to run elsewhere. And in a work from anywhere environment, thanks to BTC, we can get fiber. In an environment where you can live anywhere, why would they want to live anywhere but where you have a high quality of life? And that's what we're out telling them, is work from anywhere, but call the fields home base. Obviously, there's a lot of amenities, and one of the things that's really attractive is the idea that you've got amenities, but you also have this sort of natural landscape that just lends itself to all of the things that you get out in sort of this outdoor excitement. So these are the sort of stories we're telling them. It's all about what we believe is the future of this valley and what we're hoping to accomplish alongside everyone in here. So you sort of see that really it's all about the outdoor amenities. I think that's the most important piece of it. So, all right, I'm happy to take questions if anyone's got it. This is a broader project, just to kind of give you a sense of it. You've got what we call the fish camp and kayaking. It's the 4,000-foot riverfront down there south of our property. You've got the overall development as it relates to the air park, equestrian area, and then you've got the mountain top up there. I did actually, before I do this, because I'm going to try to answer some of your questions before you ask them, is let's talk about some of the myths. Let's talk about the noise. So this is a private small airfield. This is not Hartsfield Atlanta Airport. There are not going to be commercial planes, and there are not going to be terminals. The show Yellowstone is doing me no favors. But this is a private airfield with no commercial traffic. The people that live at the airfield are staying there. Their wives are staying there. Their kids are staying there. They do not want obstructive traffic being loud and flying over their homes and taking off at inopportune hours. So there are nightly curfews, which means you would not have overnight traffic, and that would prevent a lot of the traffic. And just to put this in perspective, as you're looking, we were up at Alpine in the middle of probably the best season to be at Alpine. It was one of the most gorgeous times of the year in September, and we were there for about 6 hours. There was one airplane that took off the entire time. So we're talking about less traffic than what you see at Marion County, a couple airplanes a day. Basically, because it's private and significantly reduced traffic, most airplanes are very small, most of them will be single engine, but there is the opportunity to accommodate a larger twin aircraft. Again, no commercial aircraft. There'd be no commercial activity related to aviation there at the property. Exclusivity, I also want to address this, is basically the only areas that are quote unquote private are the residential areas. We want commerce. You're the year-round folks. You're the folks that will support the development year-round. We want you to take advantage of those commercial and retail locations. They're designed for everyone to enjoy, and they're designed for the public. The other thing we're doing this, we invite everybody to come out on April 2nd, is we're having our first event. We're going to have barbecue, we're going to have music, and we're going to have bouncy houses for kids and ice cream.
Bouncy houses, and we've got everything as far as we're going to have Morgan Brothers have barbecue. We're working on desserts with the bakery. What's the name? Miller's Bakery. We're having an issue. I have one big issue with that is we want cheesecakes. We tried their cheesecake today and oh my God. And we're trying to get the cheesecakes, and the only problem that we have right now is we got to get some refrigeration. So David, we may be giving a call to you as far as refrigeration goes to see if we can help with those cheesecake cupcakes. But we have good music. We've got a good band. And a good country band, and it'll give you guys an opportunity to come and just meet with us one-on-one. It's really a meet and greet. Talk to us one-on-one. Let us, let you guys know where we're from and what we're doing. We're all kind of local here, from Chattanooga. So I'm from Signal Mountain. Georgia. So we're all local. We're all local boys. So we're not coming from anywhere that we don't appreciate what you guys have, and we're really trying to protect it, and we want to make sure that we're going to have a good time. But please come out. It's going to be a good time. It's from 11 to 3, and free food, free desserts, free music, and you guys should grab any one of us and have a good, have a good conversation and, let us know your concerns or whatever, we just would like to talk.
And that's on April 2nd.
April 2nd.
And this, we hope, is the first of many community events that we can have. We actually talked about doing something for July 4th, is hosting some community events and really involving the broader public. The folks that are coming to the fields that are going to be future residents want the community. They want the rural lifestyle. They want to be a part. They want to be a part of your community, and we want you to be a part of ours. We're all one community. We've talked a lot about green spaces and common areas and playgrounds. We're going to put a playground in, again, open to the public for kids that are in the community. That, I think, is important to us. We want to have something that's attractive to families and something that people can really be proud of. Property taxes, and again, Mayor Ridley, sorry, I shouldn't point you out in this room, should I? Behind the taxes. But property values should increase, but that's good if you own land and you're in Greenbelt, you actually shouldn't see an increase. But again, most of what we would say is the local leaders have the opportunity to reduce the tax base. Most of the increase in taxes will come from our community and not out of your pockets. That's the idea. It's happened in Marion County. Marion County was able to reduce their tax rate by 0.4% because of Jasper Highlands, and we think we actually will have a much higher level of increase in tax, the amount of revenue that comes to the county than what Jasper Highlands is, because remember, we're building more than just a residential community. We're building retail, and those retail sales taxes pay for a lot of things, and we have the opportunity to build something that's quite special and unattainable for, or unrivaled in terms of what is out here in the aviation community. I would recommend, we didn't plan this, I've been accused of it. The article came out in the Chattanooga Times Free Press this past weekend about the Jasper Highlands. I recommend you read it because it does talk about the impact of what Jasper Highlands has meant to Marion County, how well it's done, how much it's delivered in terms of economic value to support public services. And that's we get a lot of inspiration from Jasper Highlands. I've heard this one, you're gonna fail. I've heard that, I'm an entrepreneur, you hear that a lot. The reality is this project that we're talking about, the fields, is something we've taken a lot of inspiration from other developments. There are other air parks out there. We believe this is a one-of-a-kind experience that we're trying to do with the amenities, but there are some within a couple 100-mile radius that are already out there and have been quite successful. Big South Fork, Heaven's Landing in Georgia, Mountain Air, and Elk River Park. And I would say nobody has the beauty that you guys have, and I mean that sincerely. As I've gone out and looked at these, I'm like, this is it, this is awesome. And then road closures, we've talked a lot about, I know there's been a lot of concern about what this basically means is, one thing I want to make clear is, any of the development we're talking about, the roads, the playground, the amenities, the ball fields, sports courts, the tennis courts, the basketball courts, all of that, we are paying for 100%. We're not asking the county or the state to pay for any of it. We are fitting the bill. And so this is entirely our budget and our capital that's being put to work, not your money. And so I think that's important to know that this is really us making the investments in the community, and with those investments, we plan to stay. And so this is just a little bit about what we're talking about. And again, this access points, I think probably one of the things I'm most excited about is what it will mean for the church, sitting out in the church parking lot. There's a lot of traffic, and the fact that it's a win-win, we can pull that traffic off the church and have it go, I think is a pretty cool thing. So last, I'll leave you with this, is Flying Magazine. What is Flying Magazine? I talked a little bit about it. You're welcome to pick up a copy. Unfortunately, I've been giving out a lot of copies. I only have a limited supply.
We'll have 500 at the event.
But John will make sure that you get a copy if you'd like to do it. There is a 4-page ad that we described the project in it, and I showed some folks, and it was interesting to sort of see that is gorgeous. That's what we're selling, and that's what we're talking about, and that's exactly why people are coming. They're not coming for anything else. Yes, Tennessee has no taxes. Tennessee, the county has low real estate taxes. We all know that. But that isn't going to get the folks to come out here. What they're coming out for is Bledsoe and the beauty and the community. That's what they want. And that's what we want to help preserve. Thank you so much. I'm happy to answer questions. We do invite you to ask questions if you'd like to talk to me afterwards as well, but also happy to take them here if you'd like.
When do you think you're gonna start the first house?
So we're going to start the development first. So we've got to basically clear the space where the development will be. That will be the very first thing. But we hope to accomplish that by starting the summer. After we get all of the engineering plans, we've slowed down the engineering design, going through the process with the commission. So once that's, depending on the outcome of that, then we will then start continue the engineering plans, and then once those are final, we will start doing site prep. So you're looking at the first residents having possession of the home. We can build the homes in conjunction with the actual part of the development, but you're looking at 18 months probably. It's not going to be, I mean, supply chain issues are a problem right now for parts, as you guys know. And so because of that, it may take longer than we would like, but we're looking at 18 months.
How many of these homes would you expect to be primary residences?
So I think we've actually gone out, and it's about half and half as we're looking at primary residence versus secondary residences. Generally, and I think to a person, John can correct me because he's talked to all the folks that have actually purchased property, is I think every one of them are empty nesters. I don't believe we have anyone with small kids, do we?
There's no one with small children. And yeah, Craig, you're correct. About half of these will be used for primary residences. Very little load burden in terms of school systems. Yeah, empty nesters between 50 and 70 is kind of the primary demographic.
Yeah. So the good news is they're paying taxes and not putting kids in school. But we do want kids in school, and I think in time, hopefully that tax base gives you the ability to continue to pay teachers more and really develop a lot of the activities and amenities that become attractive for folks. So.
Why did you change the name? I thought I read it first it was Fields at Fall Creek.
That is correct. So let's talk a little bit about that. So the original name was the Fields at Fall Creek, and we liked the fact that it was tied into Fall Creek Falls. But on the FAA chart, there is a tiny airfield called the Fall Creek Airfield or something. And it was disappointing when we figured it out. We found it. There's no trademark or anything. It was on the FAA charts. And we were concerned about if somebody is trying to figure out where it's at, they may show up at their development and not ours. And so we felt like it was quite confusing. So we ended up dropping the Fall Creek. Still like it. I think it's a good name. But we're also concerned about confusion.
I have a second question. My husband probably had. But since you talked about emergency, you mentioned that. So what's your plan for intake and outtake and the whole picture of if there were an emergency, a crash?
A crash? Well, these are seasoned pilots, first of all, but crashes happen. In terms, you're talking about the highway itself?
Yes.
Well, I think what you've got is, we want to be supportive of the local fire department. We want to, these are small aircraft. We're not talking 747s, small single engine aircraft. And basically what you've got is, as we look at the fire department, and if we can be supportive there, we want to do it. We want to help the fire department fund some of the equipment and be active in that process. We want to help train rescue folks that are being involved in it. The nice thing is we have 2 hospitals. Heaven forbid that something does happen, there are 2 hospitals that have a helicopter service, and we want to be supported. In fact, that's one of the goals is sit down. So in the event of a crash, there is supporting services that can be there. So they don't happen as often they don't happen that often. So, but it's life.
Usually they just land on the road.
So, any other questions? Yes.
How far south is it from here?
So it is in the southern part of the county. It is approximately 3 to 4 miles.
No, it's 10 miles.
No, 3 to 4 miles from the Sequatchie County line. So it's 10 miles from here, but it's about. So part of the development on top of the mountain is right on the county line, but that's 3 miles over, and then it's a couple miles north of the county line.
So
And one of the other things is for our development as well as the community. First of all, and I'm not saying this because you're in the room, and I'm sorry to say this to Sequatchie County, Sequatchie. Okay. I think Bledsoe's a prettier town. And we want to sell that. We want to describe that, and it's a gorgeous. Your town square is quite gorgeous. Yeah, it looks cool. So we want that to be a part of it. And if I could get the postal service to change their address, we'll do that. So, sorry.
So I have a couple of. Somebody wants to know if you're going to do an environmental impact study, and I know the answer.
We have to. State requires it. So we've got a couple studies. We've got environmental impact. We have an economic study going on right now. So we've hired a full economic. They're going to do that over the next couple of weeks and present it in terms of the economic impact. Obviously, all of the environmental studies required both for the development as well as any of the amenities associated with it. One of the things we've talked about is, I've heard a lot about this, is we talk about fishing the river, because there's a lot of concern about the fact that the river population, the fish population has died out. So we've talked about, does it make sense for us to do a hatchery in the property to sort of repopulate that? And the great thing about fish is you can't keep them. So they're in the river, and anyone can fish the river with outside of our property. So it's a lot of things I think we can do, and obviously we want to involve TWRC for that, and potentially TVA if they've got that. So
here's the biggie that people want to know as far as tourism in Sequatchie County. What if one of your planes flies into a hang glider or a paraglider?
So we're going to talk. We've actually had some conversations with some folks in the paragliding community. It is not uncommon to have mixed airspace in a lot of areas. And what we want to do is work on what is the approaches, because these things, the nice thing about pilots is they tend to be engineers. They tend to think about specific ways of, they get instructions on how to approach an area. And there's a lot of ways that we can manage that to keep basically not overflying the city. There's a lot of things you can do. That's what Alpine does, is they don't let you overfly the town, so you have to sort of divert away from it so you're not disturbing homes. And the other thing is we talking to our paragliding friends, is making sure that the approaches that are designed so that you're not interfering with one another. And I think that's just a matter of working out the logistics of, obviously they can't move where they're at. And the good news is, if you look at the actual altitude of where they're flying, they're going to tend to be lower than our approach, but we will manage it accordingly so that we're not flying right over their jump off points, and hopefully they're not flying over the runway. So if you can make it that far, it's pretty impressive. But any other questions? Yes, sir.
You're eventually going to sell lots up on top of the plateau.
On top of the tumble mountains?
That will not be for people who will be flying, right?
That's right. So if you think of the development, phase one is, so one of the things about the project is it is an aviation themed development, phase one. As we move beyond it, it's just, first of all, there's a finite number of aviation interests. So we know that, we recognize that. The second sort of element of it is, as you move up the topography of the property, you wouldn't want to taxi a plane up and down that mountain. Trust me, I've driven it. It's not, you can't do it in a car. But because of that, as you move up the topography, we would probably, we've got it listed as equestrian, because that's sort of a theme that we would sort of thinking about. And it would be an estate style home. And then as you move up the mountain, obviously there's no aviation up there, and you couldn't do a plane. Now, hopefully, those same folks will be able to rent a hangar or buy a hangar and have a plane at the bottom. And there is actually some folks that are phase one, they want to be there, and they're like, hey, when you get ready to do that mountain, let us know we're there. So our goal is to connect the property as we go, but unlike what John Thornton had to do in Jasper Highlands, is he had to build those roads for a massive amount of expense up front. One of the things we're trying to do is, let's ignite the community, let's get interest and density down in the valley, and then as we sort of go up the mountain, that natural progression will mitigate the amount of capital we have to burn going up the mountain. Because building up a mountain road or fiber is expensive, and we want to work progression. That's why I did a 15 to 20 year plan. Well, I really appreciate your time, and I know that you may have other questions that we haven't answered tonight. You're welcome to come spend some time with us today. Also, if you have questions, we would like to answer those in private. You can reach out to me. My email is craig@flying.media.com. I will respond to the ones that, even if you have a challenge, I will respond to them as long as you're asking a question we can answer or speed. We'll so. Any other questions? No. All right, well, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
With that, thank you all very much for being here tonight.
Appreciate
And
it.
I'll just open the floor for any other announcements from anyone in the room. Have any updates or announcements that they might like to add? All right, well, if there are no announcements, thank you all for coming. Thank the Butter Dish for the good food, and you all have a great evening. Thank you again.